The West Bloomfield Township Public Library has a wide variety of virtual programming, and here to talk to us about some of those programs is Eric Schoenbaechler, Adult Services Coordinator for the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Eric, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Eric, before we get into the great programs that you guys are featuring at the library, let's first talk about your position at the library. What are some of your responsibilities as the Adult Services Coordinator there at the library?
So some of the things that I do, number one is planning and scheduling and coordinating programs for people throughout the community. So that's one of the main responsibilities. We try to have great programs throughout the year to keep people involved and active at the library. I also oversee just the entirety of the adult and young adult collections. So I like to say everything from 6th grade to beyond. That's under my umbrella. I don't purchase the materials for those, but the librarians on my team do. And then just providing services throughout the building, but mostly to the adults and young adults who come in looking for materials or need to study, need help with the research. We've got a great staff of librarians who are really skilled and knowledgeable about our collections and our resources, and we're always excited to talk about those and share those with people who come in needing whatever assistance.
Eric, on Monday, you guys had an event called Booked for the Evening, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I personally have read that book and love that book. So can you tell us a little bit about that event and what it looked like?
So the Booked for the Evening program, it's something that we do monthly. We have a professor who leads that. Her name is Dr. Tara Hayes, and she's been doing it for us for years and years. It's a great program. This is one of the programs, most of our programs are open to anyone who would like to attend, but this is one that is reserved just for West Bloomfield patrons. Dr. Hayes chooses a theme each season, and so the theme for this season is mythic retellings. So that's why she chose The Song of Achilles for February. The program that we have coming up in March is Wake Siren. That's going to be on March 21st at 7 p.m. And then we have a couple of other mythic retellings throughout the rest of the spring and summer.
And Eric, can you tell us a little bit about the difference between the Booked for the Evening events and the Book Talk events that you guys hold? Give us a little bit of an overview of each and what the difference is if someone was looking to register for any of these events.
Absolutely. Like I said, the Booked for the Evening events are open just to West Bloomfield resident card holders. So West Bloomfield, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, and Keego Harbor, they're welcome to register for those programs. The Book Talk programs, those are sponsored by the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, and they're coordinated by them as well. Those are open to everyone. And similar to Book Talks, they choose several titles throughout the year. They do one program each month. The one that is coming up in March is for The Overstory by Richard Powers. That was actually a Pulitzer Prize-winning book in 2019. They do 2 sessions of it. So the next one is going to be Thursday, March 10th at 7 p.m. And they also do a Friday program. So that'll be Friday, March 11th at 10 a.m. There's not necessarily a theme for the book talks. They just choose books that are popular, have great literary value, are titles that people have been interested in or expressed interest in discussing. So they're both discussion-based programs. They allow everyone to participate. They're structured a little bit differently based on the theme versus non-theme.
And Eric, as we are now nearing the end of February, can you tell us a little bit about some of the upcoming events or programs that you guys have happening in March?
Absolutely. So March is actually a pretty full month of programs. We're excited about some of the things that are coming up. So on March 1st, we have author Alice Randall is going to be joining us virtually. She wrote the book Black Bottom Saints a couple years ago, which is a great book. It's set in Detroit. It takes place between the years of like post-Great Depression through the end of World War II. And it's a Women's History Month program, and she's going to be talking about the female characters in Black Bottom Saints. So we're really excited about that. We have another, that's Tuesday, March 1st at 7 p.m. We have another program coming up on Tuesday, March 8th at 7 p.m. a week later, that one's going to be presented by the Zeckelman Holocaust Center. That one's called Resistance During the Holocaust. And so that program is going to discuss the different avenues of resistance. And it's going to use artifacts and survivor testimony and survivor artwork. So that one is another program that we're really looking forward to. Excuse me. And then another one that we have at the end of the month on Thursday, March 31st at 7 p.m. It's called The Lonely Hearts Killers. That's by author Tobin Buke. He's an historian who's written several books about Michigan. And so this one, it's about two people who were part of what was called the Cupid Club. And it was killers who they preyed on Michigan lonely hearts, and it took place in the late 40s. So it's a really interesting story. And Tobin Buke is like I said, the author of that book, and is going to go into a lot of detail about the people who were considered the Lonely Hearts Killers and what the background and impetus for this was. And then one other program that's coming up in March, it is part of our film discussion series, and that one again is just open to West Bloomfield card holders. The March program is The General by Buster Keaton. So the theme for that, this one is also led by Professor Tara Hayes. The theme for that this season is Make 'em Laugh. And so it's about Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, and the Marx Brothers, so some of the classics in old comedy. And so, again, the March program is Monday, March 14th at 7 p.m., and that's going to be The General by Buster Keaton.
And Eric, this is a question that I love to ask everyone at the library. I've asked Kathy Russ this question before. Do you have a book that you are reading either right now or have read in the past couple of months that you wanted to share with our viewers here that was one of your favorites?
Sure. I actually listen to books. I'm a big audiobook fan. So the one that I'm currently listening to, it's a brand new book. It's by an author named Chuck Klosterman, and it is called The 90s. So it goes back into some of the things that define the 90s, some of the things that were popular, some pop culture things. And being a child of the 90s, I graduated from high school in the mid 90s, went to university in the late 90s. It's bringing back a lot of memories. So it's a really fun book to listen to. Some things that I hadn't necessarily forgotten, but it's kind of reliving my teenage years. So it's a fun book and really interesting to listen to.
Well, Eric, thank you for sharing that with us, and we so appreciate you joining us this morning on The Splash Live.
Thank you. I'm so glad to have been here.